Hey folks, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, and I got the core nerdettes with me I'm going to go with today. And we are going to be playing some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. The Scarlet Sisterhood has gathered, and it's been a couple weeks, unfortunately. I was either a terrible DM or a horrible father, maybe both. Because apparently last week I did not realize it was my daughter's 8th grade graduation. And I'm like, is that even a thing anyway? But can you guys call me when we hit high school and graduate from that? Because I don't, they don't really give you anything from graduating from 8th grade. But before we jump in, so I guess we've summed it up and we've proven I am just a horrible father. Before we jump into tonight, I do want to say, guys, if you haven't seen it, there is a very short Kickstarter up right now for Critical Role for their minis. I conveniently put a link in the description there, guys, if you want to go check it out. I know Nerdarchy is getting ours. I don't know what we're going to do with them, but we're definitely getting them. And yeah, it kicked in within like 5 minutes. So I think they were up to like $250,000 or something.
Ooh, good.
It's actually not bad. I think you get like 20 minis for like $60.
That's pretty good.
That is way better than the Matt Colville mini deal you're getting. And those minis were expensive. Even Ted couldn't bring himself to back that one for the
They're
minis.
Beautiful, but yes, they're pricey.
Or for that price, I want really big minis, So who's got the recap, and then we'll go with the usual order for who you are and what you're playing tonight.
I got it. So, after we rescued Agnetha and got stuck on another plane for longer than expected, Deneen was banished to the couch. Kath spent some time with Azucena, and then she goes to terrorize Vance in the morning. She wonders if Haley is really a cleric of Quinthel, or if she might be secretly serving some evil god. So she asks Vance to keep an eye out. Kath and Kenna went to Deneen's house. As they arrive, Fane is leaving to go visit her friends in Halflington. Meanwhile, we try to figure out what we'll do next. But some of the halfling children ask us about Fane. Apparently she never arrived. So we searched and finally discovered that Fane and a couple of other people have been duplicated by these weird jello mound oozes. The other two people look kind of dead, but Fane is still alive inside the ooze and screaming. Kath busted right through a wall to get to them. Deneen carved her daughter out of the jello monster, but she's not breathing. She's dead. But thankfully, Kath cast Revivify on her. Deneen took Fane straight home, and Kenna and Kath, followed by Wisdom, went to the Church of the Light to give funeral services to the ooze-killed people. And the Beggar King approved.
All right, with that, you guys want to introduce yourselves and your characters?
Hello, I am Megan R. Miller. I am an author, and my books can be found on Amazon.com. Not trying to be a diva, but if you don't include the R, you won't be able to find me. I will be playing Kenna Hollythorn, Halfling Bard of Valor.
Total diva.
No. Hi, I'm Jen from PixelScapes.com. I'm a monster artist, and I'll be playing Deneen, a wood elf rogue, a little cleric.
And I'm Jean. I'm playing Eriton Perkath off and on as I secretly rage at technical issues I'm having. And she's a paladin of this guy that I totally remember
the Beggar King.
The Beggar King, sorry. And a tiefling. Yeah, I'm very focused right now.
It's been weeks.
It has been weeks.
It's I'm trying to fight a technical thing at the same time. But yes. Hello.
So I did get to hang out with Gene in Origins, which was super cool.
Oh boy!
And
I'm jealous.
Origins was pretty cool in itself, but hanging out with Gene makes it much better. So, question for you, fine ladies: we can pick up, several days or even weeks past where we left off, or we can pick up right where we left off. I'll let the group decide.
Well, how important is scouring every corner of the town to make sure we've got all the oozes and try to figure out how they got into town in the first place?
That's happening. whether you guys are on board for it or not.
Oh, so on board for it. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit paranoid because, like, every time something weird like this has happened, it's been the monarch, and I know he's supposed to be dead, but I don't 100% believe it.
Well, from our experience of previous infestations in this town, which somehow Deneen always ends up dealing with, them touching her and her stuff. But yeah, no, this is unacceptable, and every in-house, outhouse, doghouse, and whorehouse is going to get checked for.
So you gotta do Tommy Lee Jones.
I don't remember the whole quote. That's as much as I've got. I'm sorry.
Somebody in chat.
Somebody get it. That's where Deneen's going. But yes, abandoned buildings where an ooze could hide.
In-house, outhouse, and doghouse.
She's looking for reports of people who are missing. She's looking for reports of people who were like acting weird and then vanished suddenly. You know, like everything that happened with Fane and these other two poor people.
Okay, so I'll go with the assumption that you would have started looking where you encountered the creatures to begin with.
Oh yeah,
makes the most sense. And what you actually found were cracks in the floor. The concrete floor, which were about an inch or so in width. You can by just looking at them, it's really hard to discern the depth. But pretty much anything you stick in there just kind of keeps going, for the most part. And they're probably an inch wide and several feet long, and clearly coated in that gook. So you're pretty sure they came from up beneath. And
since we'd already seen that they like reached through this little crack in a wall where a calf like busted through like the Kool-Aid man, like we know that they can move through spaces this small, or at least extend their pseudopods through spaces this small. So
yes,
yeah. Deneen can't bust through this floor by herself.
No, but Cat has been known to Kool-Aid Man through some things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be any help.
There is a structure that needs destruction.
Yeah, this calls for my ladies. So definitely, this will be a team effort. Deneen appears wherever the hell you guys are after discovering this.
Hi, Deneen. We're like sitting there playing cards.
She's been scouring the city. I think I found more of them. Ooze things. Those ooze things that are grabbing people.
Ooh.
Or at least a sign that they went further. There are these cracks in the floor of a place, and they're covered with slime.
Where was the place?
It was the place you guys fought them.
Oh, the same place.
I
think there might be more.
They didn't go very far.
Okay. Well, then I guess she just like stalked right back over there to look around suspiciously.
Well, heck, there might still be evidence like of what brought them in to begin with. So, and I hop up. I am more than ready to go.
Well, seeing as how that building is abandoned and almost murdered my kid, or maybe I almost murdered my kid, depending on how you interpret that. Calf, could you come bust up a floor for me, maybe? How about it?
Yeah, for you.
Some major demolition work here.
I can assist.
That would be wonderful.
Been a few days since I smashed anything. I'm starting to get the itch.
Yes.
So
are we figuring that this is a couple of days later? Like maybe she was scoping around and then finally thought to go back and look at the same place?
It could be whatever you guys want to do. I mean, I assumed you probably would have started your investigation there, just because that's that would be the most logical.
Except she rolled a 5 on investigation.
Oh, well, eventually she's like, maybe I should check.
She finally figured it out. She did finally figure it out. She's not real good at this. That's the problem. And she was real angry, so. But yeah, she figured it out.
So,
but hopefully it's at least enough time for us to like have our hit points back.
Oh yeah, you're back at full. You guys are rested, all that good stuff.
All
so,
right.
You guys, so Deneen has been out scouring the town, the city for a couple of days. In that time span, what would Kenna be doing?
again, probably very similar. I've been trying to figure out, like, talking to people, hitting the beat, like, finding out what people know about, like, shady activity, what might have been smuggled in, anybody that might have been hanging around the area where the oozes were to begin with.
Okay. And also, you guys saved 3 of those people too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, some of them.
So I would have
did live. Excellent.
Yeah. It's not so much they lived, but Kenna actually resurrected or raised 3 of them. The 3 of them weren't dead too long, so they were able to get better, as the case may be.
I'm getting better.
Yeah. Which because of that, Kenna has kind of you're starting to develop a little bit of a following amongst the homeless.
I'm okay with this.
So the old woman which you're able to save is Auntie Emily, and
Okay.
the Rotho is an old man of the hobo variety, and then another one was another child, another street urchin, street rat, if you will, and and he goes by Stefan.
Got it. So, all right. I think I'm going to. I'll interview the child first because kids notice stuff that adults don't. So I'm gonna ask him like what strange things he might have seen.
So, all 3 of them kind of give you a similar story where they were lured in by someone that they knew, and it was each one of them was one of the deceased, and they knew them. They called them by name. They looked familiar to them, and they all offered them something of interest to kind of lure them into an alley. And then once they were lured into the alley, then the rest is kind of history. Basically, the same thing Fane did with you guys.
Yeah.
But the biggest difference though is the boldness of the attack on the 3 of you, because up until that time, it seems like they were all just they've cut away individuals from groups and shied away from that. It seemed like the attack on you guys seemed a little reckless.
Well, maybe it was getting stronger as it went, or it's used to just attacking commoners.
That's another important question. When they were pulling them solo, was it just one creature that got them each individually?
Yes, it was always one creature.
Because there were more than one when it was us. So that could be the difference.
Or maybe it multiplied after it ate enough, like if they divide or something.
In which case, if anything's left, we really do need to get to the bottom of it.
So speaking of getting to the bottom of it, how about if we just buy like gallons and gallons of oil and pour it in there and light it before we bust in there and make sure everything's dead? How about it? Sounds great to me.
The thing about that is that it could travel and take the fire to other places, like people's homes that we don't necessarily want to burn.
Just it'll go down under the ground and sewers and stuff. What could go wrong?
Lots of stuff. And
you're going to create Centralia in Gryphongaffe.
Deneen, I just don't want you to feel responsible when people get burnt to death in their homes,
And also, there could be more victims.
Well, I'm getting more oil anyway, just in case.
Probably not a bad idea.
Just in case.
We can burn them individually once we're already down there. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah. Just maybe not like
it's come in handy lately, so yeah. Just in case.
So, in the time that Deneen has been searching, what has Kath been up to?
Kath has been checking in with the poor of the city, especially now that there's an actual population of them here. and using her paladin abilities to create food and purify the water in some of the poorer areas, and just trying to take care of her patron people, and occasionally maybe following or spying on Haley or rummaging through her things when she's not around.
Excellent.
I love cats.
What Kenna, what do you do with the homeless people that you resurrected? Do you just like raise them and send them on their way?
Well, I'm talk to the like the urchin for sure. I'm gonna take back to Halfling Town with me because we pick up strays. That's what we do. But the other two are adults, so I think I'm gonna try to get them set up with the church if they're willing.
They basically kind of want to go back to doing what they were doing before. They actually seem a little addled. But you've met some of these folk before, and that's how some of them are.
All right.
They like routine.
So I'll
as long as it doesn't involve oozes.
Over the course of the next few weeks, make sure to touch base with them daily, and then every other day, and then I will cut it off at once a week. I'll continue to check in with them once a week, ad infinitum, but more often toward the beginning.
Okay, and Stefan is probably in his tweens from the look of him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not quite as but if he would like a place to stay, he is more than welcome.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely. He'll definitely take a place. I like how if he was under 10, he gets a place. He definitely gets a place. But over 10,
if he was under 10, I was going to make him come with me. But over 10, he can make his own decisions. But he's welcome.
You're as big as a halfling. You're grown.
Yeah.
10-year-old street urchins know what they're doing.
Kenna doesn't really have a great idea of other races and how they grow up. So but Deneen once mentioned it wasn't the same thing for elves. So she's maybe it's not the same thing for humans. They're adult sized. So
close enough. So, Kath, Gene, do you remember the piece of equipment you had accrued from the last adventure, from the end of the last adventure? You'd picked up a dagger?
Yes. Why?
I was just wondering. You had said something about wanting to return it to its owner at some point.
Let me look at the loot tracking sheet. All right. I don't remember the details off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
When Deneen had rushed Fane away from the creature after she C-sectioned it out, as she so eloquently put, you had found a dagger lying in that spot.
Ooh. I have detect magic, don't I? I feel like
Maybe.
I should.
Sounds
do you have detect magic?
I don't know if you do, but at the time you had surmised it was Fane's.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
that's right. Wait, because didn't one of us give her that dagger?
She pocketed one off of you, but then Deneen made her give it back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, I know. I probably would have waited to go give it back. Oh no! How evil do I want to be? I'm gonna be so
evil.
All right. So yeah. Well, Deneen is off checking for more Uzis and everything. I'm gonna swing by our place.
Okay. Well, you find Fane there. Fane's father is out working.
Oh, rats. I wanted to catch him.
Oh, you wanted to catch him?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I can always stop by his work next. So.
Oh yeah, you can locate him if you wanted to easily enough. But ever since the family's relocated to Gryphongaffe, even aside from working on the bathhouse, he's he's been able to find constant work fairly easily. He's a skilled craftsman, and there's money in the town, so it's worked out fairly well.
Nice.
But yeah,
Alright,
Fane is definitely there. When you knock on the door, you hear a small voice call out. Who's there?
It's Kat.
Auntie Kath. Recognizing your voice.
I roll my eyes at the auntie. It's big old children.
Yeah. And then you hear about 17 locks unlatch, bolts sliding, chains rattling, locks clicking.
So she opens the door, and the first thing I say is, "Do you know what a safe word is?"
A safe word?
Yes, or a password.
Oh yeah, I've heard of passwords. I've read about those.
Given the fact that there was an ooze that was taking on the appearance of other people, you should probably make sure that your parents set a password with you, so that when people tell you who they are and you open the door for them, they actually are who they are and not some doppelganger who's here to kidnap you.
Well, I guess that's true, but what if the doppelganger can read minds? Mommy has told me all kinds of stories about creepy monsters.
It did seem to know some Fanish things.
Well, that's a good point, but so it might not be perfect, but it doesn't mean it's not worthwhile in some cases.
Okay, what's our password going to be?
That's a good question.
Can it be a rune? Do you have a rune with you?
Yeah.
And she starts looking behind you as if rune's just standing behind you.
He's eating the flowers in their front garden. So can I come in?
Should we start over with the password?
Sure.
So all the locks begin locking. And then you don't hear anything.
I tap on the door.
Who is it?
It's not Auntie, just Kat.
Oh, Auntie Kath, I'm so happy when you come by. How do I know it's really you? You could be an ooze.
Our password is a rune.
That's true. Can you read minds? And then you hear the clicking and unlatching of locks. And then she lets you back in. But by the way, Kath, Mommy's not here. She's out.
No, she's not.
Oh, you already knew that. Are you
Yeah.
looking for my dad? He's working.
No, I'm here for you.
That's not creepy at all.
Are you going to take me on an adventure?
No, because I value my life. And while I don't mind pushing your mother's buttons more than she would prefer, I think that she might take exception to me putting you at harm, specifically right now after you just got kidnapped and sort of almost died. So, but I have the next best thing. And I pull out the dagger that she had palmed off of me. And I unbuckle the little boot sheath or whatever that I had for it. And I give both to her. And I say, these are for you.
You're going to give me my own knife?
Yes.
Mommy's supposed to teach me where to stick people with it.
That's a good lesson to have. So maybe you don't carry this around right now. Maybe you can just kind of hide it away for now, and till she has something that you can practice with, and maybe don't tell her that I gave it to you unless she finds it, and you have to explain that you didn't steal it, because again, I like my life, as it is, being present and alive. But yeah, I think it's good for you to have a weapon. But I wanted to ask you something. I wanted to ask you a couple things.
Sure, you can ask me.
Right. So, how are things going with your mom?
Good. I mean, I was sad when she was gone for a long time, and Daddy didn't want to say it, but he didn't think she was going to come back this time.
Oh yeah, well, that was pretty rough. My wife kind of was in the same situation, so I understand that's scary and painful. But how's everything going since she's been back? She seems a little tense, little not quite like herself. So I was just kind of worried.
You think so? I mean, it's been good since we've been here, and I got a lot of friends, and this place isn't like Rylo at all. You had to be really careful there.
Oh
Actually,
yeah?
yeah, actually here, I mean, even though the ooze thing happened in Rylo, you really probably did need a knife all the time. Here, not as much. Oh, but then the people from Ryler came, and it got a little rougher, but it was still way better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hide this under my pillow. Oh, you know what though? She kind of like drops her voice down into like a conspiracy whisper. I really don't think Daddy wants me to learn to stab people or where to put the knife.
Oh yeah? Why not?
He was giving Mommy that look.
Oh yeah, like what? What did his face look like?
Like that. She got like scrunches up her face and kind of squints. I know he was trying to do it when I wasn't looking, but I saw him. He always gives Mommy that look a lot.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Does your mom ever give him that look back?
Sometimes. But it's tough. I mean, Mommy goes out and she's got to work, and Daddy's always stuck in town. You know, they don't think I know anything, but I know stuff. I do. I hear them talk sometimes. I pretend to be sleeping.
I bet you do, and you probably. I would not be surprised if you've inherited your mother's natural inclination for stealth, and if you worked on it, I bet you'd get really good at it.
You think so?
I think so. You seem pretty adept and wily.
Well, I try to. I gotta look out for Daddy. Something's after him.
Oh yeah? Well, that's probably why your mom's working so hard.
Yeah, he can't leave the town. 'Cause it'll get him. That's what they say anyway. They don't think I know.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can tell Daddy's really upset because Mommy has to go out all the time by herself.
What kind of upset? Like guilty upset or mad upset?
Sad. I think he's sad.
Oh, okay.
What does guilty mean?
Understandable. Guilty is what you feel when you feel responsible for something that makes you sad. Like it's your fault.
It could be a little bit of that too. But I don't know. I think things are getting better since we came here.
Well, that's good.
Did you say you have a wife?
Yeah. Didn't you meet her? She's been around a few times.
I don't know. Did they meet Deneen?
I would think so. I mean, she was in town for a while there during the break.
You never seemed like the Marion type to me, Auntie Kath.
You were not the first individual to say that.
Is it true you're a pirate?
Yes.
So you steal from people?
Occasionally.
It sounds like more fun than working.
It's actually pretty hard work. So it's still a job. There's still a lot of effort and there's danger to it. So it kind of has to be worth it if I'm going to go to the trouble, to be quite honest. My wife's a much better pirate than I am.
Do you think I could go on your ship and be a pirate too?
I think you're a little young for that. And how sad would your dad be if both your mom and you were gone and he was still stuck here?
Well, that's true. And he definitely would not approve of me being a pirate.
Well, like I said, you're still young. I mean, you can do whatever you want and be a pirate when you're older.
Sometimes I wonder even why Mommy and Daddy are together. They seem very different.
Oh. Huh, Well, they both, I guess, have admirable qualities that they like about the other.
Oh, they of course they like each other, but just Mommy is very much like, she's more like you, and Daddy is very much follow the rules, do what you're told, blah blah blah. Straight and narrow, you're gonna get in trouble. The wicked fairies will come for you. All that stuff.
Well, that's just maybe because they have different jobs. Because even on a pirate ship, there are people who are more daring, and there are people who enforce the rules. So it's just different positions to make the house run, I guess.
So, you found my knife? It was, well, I guess it was your knife. But you found it in the monster?
Yep.
Did I stab it?
I think you must have. Either, that's certainly one plausible scenario. And, you did such a good job nicking it off of me. I thought you should have it back.
Her little chest puffs up with pride. I hope Mommy's not too mad at me for getting eaten by that monster.
I think she's more mad at the monster. But maybe that's why you have passwords, so you don't get lured away by monsters in the future. And just be really careful who you nick things from, because some people don't like to reward that behavior. Some people get mad.
Yeah, I guess I could understand that. I wouldn't like someone taking my stuff. Maybe Daddy's right.
That's a discussion to have with your mom.
It's very confusing, Aunt Kath.
What's confusing?
Mommy and Daddy. And you sometimes. You're also different and nice.
Well,
how do you know who to take stuff from?
Fane, I feel like I'm about to cross a line, and I'm wondering if it's worth it.
I feel like you got yourself into this situation all on your own, and I have no sympathy.
Well, okay, so if someone is going to do something evil with the thing that you're going to steal from them, that might be a good idea, and prevent them from doing something evil. If they stole it first, totally fine, up for dibs in that case. If they worked really hard for it and they're proud that they acquired it, probably not a good idea to steal it, because that probably has sentimental value. Unless they're a jerk, then that kind of balances that one out.
As you're talking, she goes over to a table and grabs a quill and some ink and begins writing the list.
She is more like you, Kath.
You know what? There's like a general piracy code, and Kath spends the next 15 minutes telling me about the general piracy code and helping her write it out.
Oh, she absolutely does.
It's like some people have more than they need, and so.
But it's dishonorable to steal from someone in this kind of a situation, or if you have an alliance with somebody and.
Oh man.
Kath doesn't do children. For a reason.
Well, Deneen was going to have the when to steal from people talk with her when she was a little older.
Well, it's kind of like how when you go to teach your kid to drive and they're suspiciously good at it already, and you figure out that someone's been teaching them before you. They'll be like that.
Or they've been boosting cars. But yeah, so she writes out everything. I'm going to hide this with my knife.
That's a good idea. And under your pillow is kind of obvious. And then Kath will spend another 15 or 20 minutes looking around the house in her bedroom to help her identify better hiding spots.
All right, so between
anyways, because she's really good at this, but here's some general advice.
Fane catches on really quick, and you quickly learn that she has a knack for it once with a little bit of mentoring. And she actually uses her knife to pry up one of the floorboards and stash the stuff in a hollow.
Maybe it's the same spot that he had the oath posts hidden in before.
Wasn't that in Rylor?
Oh no, that was. Oh yeah, I think it was. Well, This is Danine's house. There's probably hidey holes all over the place.
Yeah.
She probably bought this place for its loose floorboards. Let's face it.
And then when you put it back, try and sweep the dust so it's a little bit more even across it, and there's just not a clear handprint like there is right now.
Oh, that's a good idea. And then she drags a rug over.
Ooh, but see, that rug wasn't there before. And so when your mom comes home and looks at it, she's going to know that you moved the rug. That's fine if you're setting up your own place, but since you're trying to hide it from somebody else who lives here, not a good idea to rearrange the house.
Oh, what if I do this? And then she grabs a couple chairs and then like some dollies and starts arranging things.
An interesting theory. Might be a good idea to see how well it works. But don't be afraid to make mistakes and learn from them, because you're not going to be successful every time. But don't get downhearted by your failures. It's just a learning opportunity.
That's a good point. Next time we're going to have to tell me when I should stab someone.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. We can work on that too. But I feel like I've corrupted you enough for one day, so I should probably get going before your mom or dad come back.
They're gonna be sad they missed you.
Yeah, I think they probably will regret not coming home a little bit faster. But that's okay. I'll see them later.
Yeah, as you head for the door, she rushes you and wraps her arms around your waist and gives you a hug goodbye.
Pat, pat, pat on the head, and then a little bit of a prying away.
And with that, you hear the clicking of multiple locks and chains being drawn and bolts being slid.
And as Kath departs, she thinks to herself, this is really their own doing for not having dedicated childcare.
Those mental gymnastics.
I just want to let it be known for the record that even though they have 17 locks, Dineen doesn't have any keys.
That sounds about right. So, Dineen, you've been rushing around the city, checking things out.
Buying oil.
Do one final pass, at the homestead, and you notice your flower beds have been decimated.
Are there Arun prints? Are there telltale Arun prints in the flower beds?
There probably is.
Wait, let me investigate this. An 18.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Arun.
Definitely a large bovine or large quadruped of some kind.
This is the first time I've ever even had flowers. I'm going to talk to him.
So when you catch up to the rest of the ladies, what do you guys want to do?
Arun, did you eat my flowers?
He kind of looks a little sheepish and then lets out this big burp.
Yep.
And then kind of shrugs his shoulders.
Pretty.
It does kind of smell flower scented.
Look, you can eat the ones in the yard, but the ones in the window boxes, leave those alone, okay?
He looks towards Kath, and Kath translates for you. He says, but those are at face level. So he says they're really convenient.
It doesn't hurt his neck to eat those ones.
I'm going to move him up to the second floor now. Which I don't like, because that's the window I like to coincide. But if I have to, I'll move them.
Well, I think he can be reasoned with,
I'll buy you a bouquet. Once a week. You can eat that. How about that?
He agrees to your terms.
All right.
That's what he was after all along.
No,
Arun's a very sly negotiator. So
What was that, Kenna?
I said Angus has a brother now.
Oh, Stefan?
Yep.
A big brother.
Yep. So, I'm just letting you guys know that that's a thing that's going on since you have partial custody.
Kath forfeits custody. She did not agree to that.
I mean, you say that, but they're going to end up at your houseboat sometimes anyway.
One of the many joys of living on a pirate ship is you have no house.
Boat. They'll end up on the boat sometimes.
Where does Kath stay when she's in town? Just in Halflington?
I think I said that she rents some small little place or whatever. It's probably close to the bathhouse. Or maybe over the bathhouse if there's space there.
Well, you did.
Oh, sorry.
The bathhouse was built, so I don't know if they would have had that in mind.
I mean, we probably put office space up there or something, and some of that could have been converted.
Or there's presumably a bunch of rooms for massage and stuff, so maybe she just swiped one of those.
With the bronze ladies.
Oh, in the column?
Yeah. So I think she was renting a place before, but now that once she figured out the pathway in between, she just chills with them.
Chills is perhaps not the right word.
Yeah.
Steams.
But conveniently, she's resistant to fire, so it works.
Yeah.
So you've had your discussion with the rune. You guys have come to an agreement, to an accord, if you would. What is the next move? Is this when you're basically telling them about the cracks?
Yeah. We're going to go to these cracks and fill them up with oil, and then Kath talks her out of it. She says, well, either way, we need to go on an ooze hunt.
Ooze hunt.
They could be the sewers could be full of them for all we know.
Oh, just throwing this out there, and feel free to shoot me down if you think that it's a good idea to shoot me down on this, but this might be a good training opportunity for Vance if we wanted to bring him with us.
That's true.
In town. There's no way he's going to get lost.
We did promise to train him.
I'd be fine with this.
Okay, I'm going to go pick him up then. We flipped the sign to closed at the bathhouse.
Well, you probably have other employees as well.
That's true.
So, Miss Kenna, I thought Mrs. Deneen was very much against me doing any adventuring.
Well, we're not going to have to leave town for this one, and we're going to be with you the whole time, and, you got to get started somewhere.
I agree. And what are the chances of me dying twice?
If you do, I can fix that. So let's not worry about that right now.
That is a big part of why Deneen was like, yeah, sure.
Is there a certain number of times I can die? Someone can die? It makes me wonder.
I don't think so. I don't think it works that way.
I'm going to research that at some point. I think in olden times there was a certain number of times you could die. But I think you're right. I think they've fixed that.
Huh. I mean, if that's the case, then I definitely want to hear all about it, because I've never heard about that before, but I'm interested. So,
yeah, I think it had something to do with one's constitution or stamina in life.
Huh.
Affected their ability to be raised or resurrected is what they call it, right? Yeah, resurrected.
Well, yeah, I mean, the flesh has limits. That makes sense. I bet that checks out.
So where are we going?
So it's underground. There's a building. There were oozes in there. They were taking people over. It was kind of a mess.
Good.
He knows more about it than I do.
I know you guys, you ladies are very busy, and I do have some free time when I'm not working in the bathhouse, and he cracks his fingers. I've been working out and training with Jarissa and Sheena a little bit. I've spent some time over at the library. I've been brushing up.
Well, good. Let's see how much you've learned.
So you guys meet up and head over to the warehouse, And it's still kind of gross and a little smelly in here. And Deneen points out the spot in the floor. So, what is the plan, ladies? How you guys gonna go about this? How you want to do it?
It's a crack in the floor. We could completely fill it with oil. Just saying.
Yeah, but that might cause a wildfire. I hear that there's a town that manages to make that work, but that's like miles and miles to the north of here, and it's full of demons, and I don't think we want our town to be full of demons, do you?
No.
Okay.
Would that happen?
It happened in Fausthaven.
Yeah, no demons, please. There's enough. There's enough already, really.
Yeah.
I want this town nice and safe. All right, Vance, here's the deal. If you see people who are like trying to lure you somewhere, or people you know, and they've got like a weird tendril, like leash thing trailing off of them, it's like a puppet of this ooze stuff thing monster.
It is definitely not a Ninja Turtle.
Right.
I didn't really say that.
Do we know, other than like seeing these tendrils, is there any other way to like tell if we run into real people or ooze people?
No, they were indistinguishable.
They were convincing. Yeah. So we have to be a little careful if we're going to like attack people, but I guess that's a reason to not set the whole place completely on fire. But still. But
yeah.
Adventuring, you get to adventure. How about it?
You weren't
older.
You weren't even able to distinguish Fane from.
Yeah.
So that
especially
would be
not the way she was talking.
Yes, and that was the other thing. She said things that really did make you believe it was her, or she had knowledge of things that you knew, or she would know. So yeah. Yeah,
it was really convincing. It was like it was using her memory or something.
That's an accurate. It seems like an accurate assessment.
It was creepy, and they all need to die and never be here again, ever.
And if we can figure out why they were here to begin with, that would be pretty great. So this is partly investigatory.
Have you ever heard of one of these things before? Anybody?
It seems really really strange. I've never heard of anything like that. And you think they came out of these cracks in the ground?
Well, you see this shiny stuff here, and she holds a torch a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
She says that's like kind of slimy, and they were like real transparent, like slimy ooze with people and bones and the people they were digesting inside of them.
Ooh, sounds rather gross.
We saw that they could like retract through the narrowest crack. So they wouldn't be able to get a person through there, but I would assume this is where they came up from, if nothing else. And if there's more of them, that's where they went. I checked a bunch of other buildings first, for some reason, and but this is where I found clues.
Interesting. So Jurissa gets down and he kind of is looking in the hole.
Vance.
Oh yeah, Vance. Thank you.
One elven mage, you know.
Useful NPC elves. They're all kind of the same.
They're all the same. And he begins muttering under his breath and kind of waggling his fingers, and several globes of light appear. Like they almost look like small lanterns and torches. And he's kind of like trying to shine them in the hole. And he's like, I can't see how far down it goes.
So we should probably be careful when we break the floor open.
I did poke with a stick in there, because why wouldn't you poke things with sticks when you're all alone investigating monsters? And
right.
I couldn't Like it goes down for a while. So I think there maybe is a hollow place under here or something.
Yeah, he actually kind of sticks his fingers in, like his hand.
Oh, hey.
As far up to like the wrist. He's like, it's solid on either side.
Probably.
Well, it's got to be. It's holding up a building, but there's still space underneath there somehow.
Yeah.
So, rule 1 of adventuring, don't stick your fingers into gaps like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to lose your hand. There'd be like a
I
trap
can't fix
or monster.
You know what? That's a good point. Miss Kath did tell me about being careful about when I'm out on the town doing that as well.
Wait.
Is that the kind of hole she meant? I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop. Hey, Kath, you want to do something about this floor?
Vance begins to blush a little.
I would be delighted.
Let's back up in case the whole thing collapses. Hopefully Kath isn't lost into an abyss or chasm of some type below. Should we tie a rope around you?
Yes.
Nah.
At the very least, have the other end on you, I say, throwing the end of a rope at you. Like, specifically aiming for it to land over your horns.
Like just draped there.
Hold on to my tail.
You ask for it.
Kath does 37 points of damage to the floor.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, so chunks of floor begin exploding as you begin wailing away. It's going to take.
And they kind of disintegrate a little bit because I'm using the acid comes into play too, since it's a structure.
Yeah, it's a combination of it kind of being liquefied as the acid starts to break it down. Or actually, it's not even that. It's more of a corroding effect when you hit it, that it where it begins to age, as if ravaged by time. And so in this case, because it's like stone and concrete, it actually begins kind of like crumbling and disintegrating. So that's kind of going all over the place.
Good.
While you're working. So after several minutes of hard work, you're finding yourself like in a hole deeper and deeper. And the crack just goes like straight down. So it's gone several feet already. And that continues for a while. And
I guess it wasn't hollow, but that's still the same crack, right?
Oh yeah, the crack is running down. So the question is, like, she's up to her waist in a hole that she's kind of created, which I'm fairly certain that the rest of you are probably really impressed because she just basically dug a hole with the hammer. So
yeah, it's amazing.
So with that, is there anything, after you're going at it for a little while, is there anything you want to implement other than, I know you guys said, well, here's a rope, maybe you should hold on to this because are you checking periodically to see if you can find an end?
Yeah.
Denine's too dumb to check. She did her checking earlier.
Kenna would definitely be looking. I'm probably also, as she's going down further, like putting the rope against the wall and like kind of sticking it there. I think I have the nails for that.
And
okay.
I have batons from my climbing kit. We can use those.
That'll do perfectly because I can't find what I was thinking that I had, and I think I might have been thinking of another character.
So having spent a good amount of time with Sparks McGee, Kath is very aware of when the floor falls out underneath you because of collapse. So she's trying to, as she's going down, she's trying to keep to not completely just lose herself to the utter joy of demolition and actually pay attention to see if like the sound changes or there's any other kind of like indications that she's getting to a point where it's gonna like punch through to a larger cavern or something like that.
Okay.
Because especially with Vance here, she doesn't want to do like a complete pratfall and go, you know, tumbling down into an abyss.
All right. So, also, Vance is kind of like staying as close as he feels he can safely to kind of observe what you're doing and to watch the floor. And, he's kind of set up those phantom lanterns or kind of like around you in the hole so that you can see so you can see a little bit better.
Right.
And occasionally he tries to push one through to the other side.
Okay.
And eventually he's able to, so it kind of gives you a gauge on like the thickness. So he kind of like corresponds with you to let you know how far he can send those out to let you know that you're getting close.
That's really cool, Vance. You've said you've been studying from Jarissa?
And Sheena too. And whatever else I can in the library. Well, I'd learned some stuff before.
That's cool.
Just some small magics, but I thought it might be helpful eventually, especially if I become a famous adventurer like you ladies.
Right.
Famous.
Someday, one of these centuries, it's going to happen.
Sometimes the smallest things have the broadest range for utility. And I use thaumaturgy to make sounds go off like down the crack to see if they sound like they're an enclosed space or if they like echo back as if, again, looking for if it's going to open up into a cavern.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Give me a perception check.
Ooh, perception. Da, 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 da. 14.
A 14. So the sound does come back. You can tell that it's that the space seems to have opened up because it's not like the sound is being funneled right back at you.
Okay.
And you also believe you're close.
Nice. What are you doing?
I'm checking to see if there's an echo, which would make me think that, there's a cavern.
So now that you feel like you're really close, what do you want to do?
Oh, I like that grin. I like that grin a lot.
Kath contemplates having Vance take a swing and try and go the last few feet to, see how he handles the weapon, but she doesn't want to lose Pigpen if he drops it or something like that.
Or if he falls into a limitless cavern below.
There might be a part of you that is also wondering if he can pick up the hammer.
So, I'm trying to, I don't know that we have any more like fine controlled ability to break through the crack. So if Danine's got her climbing gear
I do
secured, I think Kath will just try and punch through till there's a convenient sized hole that they could fit through. While trying to remain braced, but relying on the ropes.
You told us that we do have you roped up then with the climbing gear to the.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because it's Kath.
Okay. Yeah.
And she knows that she's not the most dexterous of individuals.
We don't want you to have to, dodge or move or jump or do anything except slam through the floor.
Yeah, although I could always like Misty step myself back up if I fall through, but since we're going down to fight oozes, I'd like to save the spell slots. So.
Sounds like a great plan.
Same.
And we do need a way to get back up either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hence the pitons and rope.
True that. So one more smack does it, and the chunk that you had been previously standing on, all that kind of disintegrates and falls below.
Ooh. Denise's gonna look down there.
So you look into the inky black darkness, and
Yep.
what you see, you actually see a tunnel. It looks like a natural tunnel, not something that was made, running in two different directions.
Interesting. So at least it's not too deep of a drop.
No, it isn't. It's only about 20 feet down.
Is one direction more slimy than the other?
You're probably gonna have to get down there to really check that out, especially if you're not using any light. There is the torches that Vance has going, but they don't give off a ton of light. They're not actually quite as good as torches.
Deneen finally remembers that she can cast light. She says, "Oh, I could get a light down there."
That'd be helpful.
So let's see. Does she have to touch the thing to do it? She does. She says, "I'll have to go down there," but
well, so with that, Vance kind of like begins pushing out his lanterns in different directions. So like he kind of like puts one on either side of the tunnel and kind of makes like a diamond shape, and you can see a little bit better. Both Kenna and Deneen have good enough passive perceptions that you can see. You can see almost like maybe like a powder substance. It kind of seems to be dried, going off in one direction.
huh?
That's unusual.
It's weird. It's not like maybe it's like dried up slime or something.
Well, if if they've been in the town for several weeks, they may not have gone back down.
So maybe this is just where they came up.
So yeah, so there's always a possibility that the slime itself, is going to eventually
there's only one way to
dry them
make
up.
sure.
Oh, do you think there's a chance that we just made it a lot easier for them to access the town when maybe we should have just filled up the crack?
I tried to fill up the crack, didn't I? With my oil. But no, they had no problem coming up through that crack, even though it was this gigantic ooze. So I don't think we really made it easier. It might be easier now for other things to come up here. But the oozes,
They probably all right, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
It may be that it came up through here, and this was the only one. But just in case, let's just follow this and see if there's like a nest or something that we need to destroy. Just in case.
Well, yeah, sure. We're down here. I mean, let's
Exactly.
let's go.
Sounds great. Do you want light on like your hammer or something?
That could work, or maybe actually light a torch. Is your light going to go out if you get hit?
Well, a torch is good because then we can light things on fire.
Yes.
Light doesn't work that way. So yeah.
Yeah, and you've got all that oil, so it'd be handy to be able to get
all
it
right.
going.
Well, then torch it is.
Vance kind of raises a hand. I could carry the torch.
That sounds great.
We very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Torch bearing is a noble profession, and it is a great introduction to adventuring.
So, you spark up the torch and hand it to him, and it gets grabbed from your grasp by a ghostly-looking hand that is now holding it out in front where Kath is.
And then I realize what's going on, and I chill the hell out.
Is this a wizard thing?
I really thought that was a monster for a second.
I've been practicing.
I really thought so, too.
I've been practicing. I'm not a monster.
That's very good. But forewarn us before you do things, because we've had a lot of monsters to deal with.
I don't ever warn them before I do things.
I told Kath.
Well, it's a very impressive hand. And if you keep sticking your hands in things, you might need that.
That's what Kath said, too. About me. About my nights out on the taverns.
That is a lovely scarf, Megan.
Oh, thank you. It's just really easy for me to knit while I'm playing because it's something for me to do with my hands and I can still focus on the game.
Yep, like it. All right, let's follow that powder.
Yes.
So, you guys, let's see. You guys
So
begin.
As we're going along, I'll ask Vance. Hey, Vance, we've been thinking about maybe setting up Sheena and Jerissa. Yay or nay on that idea?
That's interesting. That's an interesting idea. Sheena's been a lot different though since you guys came back.
Yeah.
I don't
She's
think.
safer but sadder.
Yeah. I think there will be. I think Jerissa would be more interested now. He would feel safer. Before Sheena was kind of a bit of a loose
Crazy.
cannon.
More of a wild card.
I like her.
So do I. I mean, she's very knowledgeable. I've learned a lot about alchemy from her.
Do
And
you have
now-
a crush on her, Vance?
Well,
It's like the human girls.
Sheena,
Oh, that's right.
Sheena is very, very attractive, but no, I think that would be a bad idea for my academic studies.
And I'm like behind him mouthing, that's because he likes the human girls.
Yeah. And Kath looks back and was like, mm-hmm.
And Janine just goes ahead and says aloud, well, I can't blame him.
Yeah. Earth girls, human girls are easy. So the question
What?
is,
What? What did you just say, Dave? You wanna
I thought Vance said that.
it's an old movie. Earth
Yeah.
girls are easy.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's fine.
Do you get? Where is Arun? Are you bringing him down with you, or are you leaving him upstairs?
How are we gonna get him down the hole? Like, is he gonna fit down here?
Maybe I should bring Wisdom as a bat. So she can handle this. She can, like, scout for us and stuff.
I don't think we can get Arun down because we'd have to like lower him, and he's pretty heavy.
We need, like, block and tackle and something more legit than climbing equipment.
You know what we should do is so Kath will write out a note and tuck it in Arun's little circlet and say, buddy, if maybe we're not back in a few hours, head on over to, where's a good place to send you?
Harak.
Yeah, head on over to Harak and give him the note that I'm tucking in here. And I'm explaining a note about like where we went and why. And whatever you do, if you see Kath's husband, go the other way.
Whose husband?
I'm sorry, Denise's husband. Oops.
I was confused for a second.
If you see Alarion, like, maybe don't make eye contact. Just keep looking for Harak.
Now I want to do a montage where Arun has to do stealth and deception checks.
But
As like he's jingling through the streets because he's got all those.
We need
bells
to
and
do
stuff.
a special episode, Dave, where it's just Wisdom, Arun, and Monty, and we're
Yes.
putting them on an adventure.
Yes.
please, I am all about this.
That's our
The
next
mascot
campaign.
show.
That's the next campaign.
They all get awakened by a druid.
We'll bust out like the Pugmire rules or something.
Heck yes, I'm on, like, yes. I cannot yes this hard enough. At least one session, please. But, alright, so, Powder, following.
Yes.
Okay, so you send Arun with a note for Harak. What does the note say?
It says, "Hey Harak, this is Kath. You know those slimes that kind of killed a bunch of people? Well, Deneen thinks she found where they're going from, and we had to dig this tunnel to get down to it, and it's looking kind of shady. So we're gonna go try and kill the rest of them that we can find. But if we don't come back, he'll lead you to where you can find our corpses. Thanks. Bye."
And you
Yes,
told him to
all
wait
right.
a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, I told Arun to wait a few hours before he goes off.
Okay.
I wonder if
Oh, BT dubs, don't panic. Agnetha's not with us. And also, I have suspicions about the cleric.
I wonder if Kath gets horribly killed by oozes, I wonder if Arun would still even be around. We'll find out.
That we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. So you guys spend quite a bit of time just traveling onward.
There's a little wisdom bat that keeps like fluttering and coming back to me, and I pet her because she's so soft, and then she flies away again.
So is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna have wisdom kind of like continue the scout out for you?
Sure.
Okay. But as a bat.
Yeah, so she can actually she won't need light that way.
Perfect. So eventually wisdom in bat form comes back to you, and
isn't she cute? Look, she latches on my shirt just like, look, she's tiny too. Okay, yes.
And wisdom has discovered people up ahead.
What kind of people, wisdom?
Oh my god, did we find the mole rat people? Did we I'm so excited. Let's go.
So what is the intelligence on the familiar?
So they can communicate telepathically. And if I want, as an action, I can see through her eyes and hear what she hears.
The paladin fine steed, the intelligence is 6. Is it the same?
Yeah, but the regular familiar doesn't get smart. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So
it's probably like speak with animals, like maybe images, or because it's telepathy, or let's see, does it say acts independently? Yeah.
So what you get is you get a glimpse of shiny bright metal and swords.
Well, if they have shiny metal and swords, and Deneen will tell her friends this, there's people up ahead with shiny metal and swords.
And I think wisdom would be able to pass on the information of that wisdom believes it's centuries.
Like there's people just waiting there, like guards or something.
Can she tell you how many?
Do you know how many?
And
is it a lot? More than us?
She flaps. She kind of like she hops up and sits up and flaps her wings twice.
So there's 2 of them.
We can definitely take 2, and if we try to sneak past them, it's going to look suspicious.
Well, we could always ask them if they're ooze ranchers.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can ask them about the oozes, but it's really odd that there are people down here in the first place, but I kind of just want to walk up and say hello and, like, see what we can find out.
Is this going to turn out to be more blood cultists?
Well, if they are, we're going to have to kill them anyway.
Maybe let me be the one to walk up and say hello, because if they attack, they're less likely to do as much damage to me as they are to you.
Yeah, Kath should go. That sounds great.
Okay.
I mean, you could always send wisdom to look through her eyes if you wanted to do that.
That's true. Do you want me to send her so that I can see? I could do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, I'm going to do that, but I won't be able to see her here. So I'm just going to put my hand on somebody's shoulder in case you guys want to walk.
I hold Deneen's hand.
And then and I hold hands with Kenna. And then
stick my finger up her nose.
Damn it. I know that was you, Kath.
Is it because Kenna can't
It was
reach?
like a claw.
yeah, exactly. So Deneen's like rubbing her nose. And meanwhile, Wisdom takes off, and Deneen is watching this like flittering And you could see Deneen sort of turning herself as the bat is flittering around. It's much more erratic than a nice gliding owl, so this is very strange. And it's also echolocation, so that's strange.
So, with the sharp ears of the bat, the first thing you encounter is actually the sound it sounds like masculine voices speaking in common.
Okay.
And you hear one of them going, "Ugh, how long are we going to be stuck down here? I feel like we've been down here for ages. What are we waiting for anyway? Who cares? As long as they keep paying, it doesn't matter. A bunch of kooks anyway." But the coin spends, and they do some weird stuff. So I'm not going to get all questioning with them. You saw what happened to Ralph when Ralph questioned too much. Not only did they stop getting paid, but they fed him to one of those things. And then they kind of like go on like that, and then you kind of get, as you get closer, you see two rough-looking human men, equipped with short swords, crossbow, heavily armored, wearing splint mail, long sword, short sword, crossbow. They've got helms on, so it's really hard to make out any actual features. But they seem a little bored and like they've been here for a little while. Beyond them, the tunnel kind of goes on, but it from what you can see, it actually looks like it's been. The stone looks worked. It looks like this, going past them, it's actually been mined. You can see braces have been established.
So, like, maybe it's some kind of a facility or some older structure that was underground.
Yeah, it seems intentional, whereas the part that you've been traveling through just seems like a natural tunnel.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So, Wisdom flitters back again. And Deneen says, so there's two guards up there. They're speaking common. This sounds like they're mercenaries. They've been doing a lot of waiting around. They're working for some people that they call kooks. And their buddy Ralph asked too many questions and got fed to one of those things, quote unquote. So It sounds like there are ooze ranchers down here, apparently.
Well, personally, I feel like our best bet is to simply let them know that they can either stop doing this and let us put a stop to the evil thing that's going on down here, because they're just being paid. They're not really doing anything evil themselves.
They can just...
Or they could try to fight us and die like everyone else that tries to fight us.
Yeah, they could stop their shift a little early and just not say anything and leave. That's our recommendation.
We will warn them.
That sounds good. That sounds great to me.
You still want me to walk up in there first? Or are we going together?
Well, I can hang back and hide in case you need any bonus intimidation from arrows.
I swing up onto Cap's backpack and use her horns as like handholds.
Handlebars. Let's
go.
You should put a little bell on there, like ding ding.
So also they had torches in the wall, in sconces on the wall.
Right. It looks like there's some kind of a facility up there. Or I don't know about this tunnel, but it wasn't like this tunnel. It was like worked stone and it was braced up and everything.
Remind me, can you see well in the dark?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I can. So I should be able... You guys hang on to your... Or actually... Wait, Vance, you can see okay.
Well, Vance has the torch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take the torch with me because you'll still be able to see in the low light. Right. And that way, Deneen, if you need to chuck your oil anywhere, I'll be close by with the torch.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm hanging back just around the corner here in case you need any.
Okay. And Vance, you good to stay here or?
It's a very important decision. Do you go out in the open or do you hide with Deneen?
You cast magic, you should probably stay back with me.
I'm not very good at hiding like Miss Deneen. That's for sure.
Well, stay a little further back then.
It's a good idea to stay back if all you're doing is casting. The only reason I'm ever up in the middle of things is because I also use a sword.
And you might not have to do anything.
And being able to keep quiet in the midst of tense and exciting activities is a good skill to develop.
I never perfected it. I smile.
Well, I guess I'll stay back here. I guess I'll. You said they're humans, right? I'll follow you, but I'll stay back in the
I'm
dark.
not sure if they're humans, but they're speaking common and they're mercenaries, so I'm assuming so. I don't know.
But you said they had a torch.
Yeah, but
So
that could be for that could be for whoever's working here, for all I know.
Well, I guess that's true. I will stay back, but should we be close enough in case they need us?
Yeah, that's the idea.
All right, I'm ready. And he waggles his fingers.
So, with Kenna on my shoulders and her hanging onto my horns, I'm just kind of hanging onto her ankles, and I go strutting up to them, and I get about 15 feet away, and I said, "Well, hi! We totally found this crack, and we dug through it because we thought there might be treasure down here, and there's these ooze things coming up, and we want to know what was going on. So we followed it down, and there's this tunnel, and here y'all are. So what you doing? What's going on?"
So as you approach, I mean, before they're going to hear you before they see you.
Oh, sure.
Because there's a clanging in the darkness. They're standing in the center of the torchlight, 30 feet out. So about 15 feet out from them is where, or 30 feet out from them is where the darkness and the torches is. So as they hear you, they call out, "Yo, who goes there?"
And Kath will do that spiel.
Okay.
I'm Ayrton.
And you came through a crack in the ceiling.
Well, it was a crack, but I busted it up real wide, so it's no longer a crack. Now it's kind of like a tunnel.
And you slew some creatures, you said.
Super gross, oozy things coming up out of the ground and eating people. Well, not really eating them, just kind of going like, yeah, they're all like, and they had them in their grips.
So, Kenna, you easily notice that they seem to be kind of like signaling each other back and forth with like kind of subtle hand gestures, and they
got that sledge all over the place.
And they're.
Can I discern what the hand gestures mean at all in any capacity?
It looks it's it's not like drow hand speech. It looks more like kind of like military, commando type stuff, and they're kind of like seem to be trying to communicate with each other non-verbally and figure out what they're doing, because one of the things you like gather right away is they were not expecting anyone to come marching down the tunnel at all. So what exactly are you looking for? And you see their hands are kind of drifting closer to their scabbards.
Well, to find out where the oozy things came from, because they was eating some kids. So, not really a good thing to have wandering about in town.
Yeah, I can imagine how that might be a terrible thing. Kenna?
Oh, yeah, there were like 4 of them. We beat them right good, though.
Kenna and Janine, and actually all 3 of you, give me a perception check at disadvantage.
I was never mind. I didn't say it before. I'm going to do this. Perception. 6. Perception. Why is this not clicking?
That was a good roll. Give me a second to math.
23.
Like 31.
Oh, wow.
That's with disadvantage.
I rolled an 18.
Was that with disadvantage, though?
Oh, shoot. No. My bad.
I got a 23 with disadvantage.
Okay, so now I rolled a 16. So,
it's still
29.
really high. Okay.
Yeah.
I see everything.
So the 2 of you, actually, it's not, you don't, well, maybe you do say you see so well, but you hear kind of like ominous chanting, like it's almost like a really low, like almost like a low frequency, but you can kind of hear it like off in the distance. And the only reason, why you had to roll in with disadvantage is because they're talking. You guys are kind of focused on them. And the torches are making a little bit of a noise as well. Kenna can actually, though, you can actually give me an Arcana check.
All right.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to have Wisdom look to see if these guys had like tendrils behind them.
17 total.
17. Okay, yeah, it definitely some kind of mysticism or ritualistic chanting. So.
Well, I'm not breaking character because Kath and I are now playing Hillbilly Chicken. So I say, oh, are y'all having a sing-along back there?
Sing along? What are you talking about? And then he listens. Is like, oh, yeah, I do hear something. And that would be our employers. And they've employed us to make sure they are not disturbed during their ceremonies. Unfortunately, Miss and your little child there, we're going to have to make sure you don't disturb them.
I hop down and draw last breath.
Well, how much
is it on?
How much are they paying you?
No, they just called me a child. They are getting the stick. I'm done. We're done with negotiating.
Well, they can't be too bright in the head if they look at you and think that you sprung forth from my loins. So let's give them a little bit of a break. And she turns back to them and says, but really, how much are they paying you? Where'd they get you from?
They pay us fairly well. You want to make a counter offer?
Well, I can tell you they're not going to be paying you anymore after we kill them.
That's true.
Deneen is elbowing Vance like, just silently.
Give me an intimidation check with disadvantage.
Yeah.
The little child.
It's a good thing I have good charisma. 17 total because I have really good charisma and bardic nonsense that lets me add half my proficiency bonus.
Okay, 17.
I rolled a 9.
All right.
Can I make this even worse?
You can try.
I'm going to use thaumaturgy to make the ground rumble over their heads.
Okay, in that case, I will. So what I did is I made them make wisdom saves. And
there are harmless tremors in the ground.
So one of them kind of seems to set his jaw, and his eye. You see his eyes harden, while but the other one kind of like puts a hand on the shoulder of that guy and goes, "I don't know. That little one seems a bit off, a bit touched in the head. And now that I look at the child, I think that's not a child."
I look at Kath and I'm just like, oh, can I please just stab them already?
And he kind of begins like backing up. Next,
I will give you 10 gold each if you tell me who and how many are in there, and you boys just walk along on your merry way.
Or you could die. Dying is okay too.
10 gold. You think you're gonna buy our loyalty with 10 gold, or buy our disloyalty with 10 gold?
Okay, look.
We would never work again.
Take 10 gold. You take 10 gold, or you die on this floor. It's really up to you.
You like come up to my knees.
Yeah, that's what the Beholder said.
Are you telling knock jokes now? What's going on? And you like this banter's kind of going like back and forth. And next,
I don't think we have time for this. Can I just shoot a guy?
Next to Deneen, you see Vance. He kind of just does a motion like that, and he pulls the torches pull themselves out of the sconces, and you like fall on the ground, and are kind of like guttering and going out.
Oh boy!
Which kind of startles the two soldiers a little bit. So it definitely gives the impression that they were using those for light. And then you guys are closer, you can see they definitely look human. And and Vance kind of turns to you, Deneen, and says, "Miss Kath can see in the dark. I don't think they can."
Yeah, but Kenna can't.
That's fine.
She's with Miss Kath. So, what are you guys doing? They don't seem like they're going to take the 10 gold.
They're not.
Should we do initiative rolls?
If there's the crescendo of some ominous chanting in the background, we probably need to get rolling here.
100 gold, and we'll just leave.
Too late. And
Nope.
Yep.
Kath is rolled initiative. They didn't take her up on the offer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too late. We already rolled initiative.
Oh, I think you guys are going to go first.
I highly doubt that.
Did you roll 1?
Yeah, and so with my negative, I have 0.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah, but zeros can be heroes.
This is true.
I got a 14.
All right, 14.
I just hear Bobcat Goldthwait going 0's a hero.
And what do you have, Megan?
12.
Okay, 14, 12, 3, and then 0. And let's see, Vance is going to go on a 6. So, Danina's up first.
All right, I'm going to shoot the one that wasn't intimidated. That's a 20 to hit
20 will hit.
for 43 piercing damage. So she just leans around the corner and phew.
He is looking really bad. You take him right in the shoulder. It looks like you just missed the heart.
Great.
Slamming him up against that one of those braces. Oh, and he grunts and spits a little blood. Megan, you're
And
up.
I have Wisdom isn't doing it, but I have her ready to deliver a cantrip so that they don't totally die.
Okay. And then Megan, you're up.
I am just quickly looking up how long Shadow Blade lasts. Oh no, up to a minute is not good. I will save that spell slot in that case and just attack with Last Breath. Like a normal person.
Okay.
$23 to hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Kath is there, so you do get the sneak.
For 5 damage. Oh, I do get sneak attack. Okay, never mind. So that's 9 damage.
And okay. That does it. On the button.
Are you fatally damaging him or are you knockout damaging him?
I'm knockout damaging him. They won't learn anything if we kill them.
Okay, so Kenneth darts in and steps on his knee to get up to height level with him, and you take your sword and flip it around and slam the pommel into the side of his head, and you see his eyes. His head hits the brace behind him, bounces off, and then comes forward. And the last thing you see before he begins to topple is his eyes just like roll up into the back of his head, and he just slides to the ground against that brace. You do have a second attack.
Okay. Other guy. No, I rolled a 2.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he draws his longsword and just parries it out of the way. And with that brings us to Vance. He's up and he's gonna do.
Let's see some good stuff there, Vance.
He's going to do a thing. He's hanging back and staying kind of conservative, so he is going to just fire off. He points at him, and even with advantage, he doesn't do so great. He misses. Wait a minute, no. Yes, he still misses. It, like he hits his the warrior's armor with a bolt of flame, and it kind of just flares up. And but he didn't catch him quite enough, so it doesn't really do anything but singe his armor and maybe distract him a little bit. But seeing his buddy just went down with ease, he was already rattled, and he looks at the two of you. Now also realizing that there are others further in the darkness. You said something about 10 gold as he's kind of like backing away with his sword in kind of in front of him in a defensive position.
You want to go out this way.
Take your friends.
Not toward the chanting people.
So he grabs the guy that went down under the arms and begins dragging him away.
So Kath actually pulls out 10 gold and hands it to him and says, "So how many are in there, and what can you tell us about them?"
It's a cabal. There's 13. They worship oozes, and there's there's one of those creatures. They only have one of the creatures here. And
where did they hire you from?
They hired they had recruiters in different cities, different ports. We both happen to be.
This is like a multi-city conspiracy?
Well, no, they just I don't know. They go around and hire different mercenaries.
So, did they bring the oozes here, or did they find the oozes here?
It was here when we got here. They they hired some mercenaries to look after them while they do their things. It's been a pretty cushy gig.
So they wanted out-of-towners then, is what you're saying with the...
Yeah. They recruited us from Drellic. I mean, there's been some others from some other towns as well. But, the Cabal themselves are from all over the place.
Did they send those oozes up topside to attack? Or did the oozes go off on their own?
Honestly, we don't really ask too many questions, and those things are creepy as all get out. So we try to stay away from them, and especially after what happened to Ralph, we don't ask too many questions as long as they keep paying and the oozes stay away from us.
So this ominous chanting that is slowly coming to a crescendo in the background, is that like normal, or are they doing some horrible thing?
They give sacrifices and they do this ritual thing every day to the creature that they
we probably
worship,
need to get
maybe?
moving. We probably need to get
light
moving.
the torch and start moving. Yep.
He's got one of those weird puppet things with him. It's
Go back this way. There's a rope. Do not cut that rope or I will hunt you down. At the top, you will find an aurochs with a note in his hair. Do not mess with him.
He'll win.
Yeah.
He has a diadem that can burn you alive.
Yeah.
I thought the weirdest thing I was going to encounter today were these ooze cultists we work for.
Just tell him that we sent you up there. Actually, Eriton, why don't you tell him that they're on the way?
All right. He knows you're coming. Don't mess with him.
He's like walking. He's like dragging away his buddy, muttering. I should have listened to my mom. I should have just took over the bakery. I don't like getting up early, but it's better than this. It's just the world is getting weirder and weirder. Children riding on demon creatures and
Halfling,
laser
asshole.
In Ryler, we had a saying, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, know when to walk away and know when to run.
Yeah. You feel like he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown as he's dragging away his buddy.
10 gold, you're never going to see again.
That's fine.
But a deal's a deal.
Just got used to Gryphogaffers knowing what halflings were, and then you get people and like muttering about this on the way.
It's dark in here. They're only human.
Only human. So, you guys kind of go around, go down the tunnel a little bit further, and around the bend, you can see a soft a very soft, like reddish glow, kind of emanating off the wall. It's really, it's really faint and it's like flickering a little bit. You really couldn't see it from, further back where you were. That's how light it is. But as you get closer, it becomes more prominent.
Hey, they said that they might be sacrificing people in there. We should probably stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I have wisdom go look, or should we just go for it? Guns blazing.
A little chaos never hurt anyone.
Although Vance is here, and we should be setting a good example for how to do things.
You're right. We should be setting a good example for how to do things. And she looks a little disappointed at that thought, but...
All right, Vance, it's important to scout so that you don't jump into something stupid and die. So that's what we're doing. So she closes her eyes again, holds Kenna's hand, and sends wisdom into this room, trying to stay near the ceiling and being like subtle, hopefully.
I stick my finger back up her nose.
So,
trying to set a good example.
Wait, you try to stick your finger up your nose, but because I have blind sight, I dodge out of the way.
Nice. And I look at Vance and go, she's
really impressive.
We're all learning today, Vance.
Blind sense. Blind sense is way better than blind sight.
Whatever it is. Which one is it? I have blind sense.
So wisdom kind of stays close to the ceiling, and there are some shadows that are kind of forming on the wall around the bend there from the light source, but it's not producing any shadows in front because the light's emanating out. And there's two more soldiers, but their backs to wisdom. They're standing there.
Like they're watching the festivities?
Yeah, they're watching what's going on. One of the things you notice is the grip that they have on their sword seems extra tight. Almost like they might be frightened themselves of what's going on. The cavern opens up, and it's kind of bowl shaped with a ledge that goes all the way around it, and in the walls, reflecting in the light, you can see all these runes that have been carved into it. And they're kind of obscene, and they hurt the eyes a little bit. There are 13 robed figures. The cows are drawn. Those same sigils are all over the robes, and they're chanting. At the far side, you see one that seems to be leading the chant, and he's got two figures hogtied, but they're on their knees on either side of him, and he's got a hand on either shoulder. In that basin, it's hard to tell how deep it is because it's filled with this gelatinous goo.
Oh,
almost
that's not good.
Almost like a little bit like a lake of it, but in the center is one of those creatures, a very large one, and you can see forms, kind of like writhing around in it. And several of those tendrils are actually holding up more of those people puppets. And they seem to be like absorbing and kind of almost like working the crowd with the cultists and who seem to be supplicating this creature. There's 3 of those figures, and one of them has their back to you. Which it seems to be wearing this like really nice overcoat and hat, and he's got a cane in his hand. It looks, even from the back, it looks masculine. The other 2 figures is there's an elven woman and a dwarven woman. From what these things are not entirely sure how much of that matters or not. And
those are the puppeted people.
Yeah, they're almost being held up on those tendrils that you saw before.
Denise narrates all this as she's as wisdom is getting a look at the room.
Yeah, and as it comes into focus,
she comments, "When I get in there, I'm going to oath bow that guy with the 2 prisoners."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I'm preemptively summoning a shadow blade. I'm like, it's like right before we walk in.
As it comes into focus even more. You can see that the fancy coat has got like tails to it, and you can see it's got it's like what is that called?
Design on the back.
Yeah, embroidered. It's embroidered with these images that you've seen before. The death heads moths on it, and you know,
really,
as
oh,
you know,
I knew it.
you know, as like the chant begins to come to a crescendo, the figure on the far end just pushes the shoulders forward.
And Denis gasps out loud.
Yeah, and you know, the central figure and the other two as well throw their heads back and their arms up, and he's got the cane, and when he tilts his head,
he pushed them in.
When the central one tilts his head just a certain way, you can see the glint of glass on his face off of the light that's emanating from this pool. And that seems like a good place to wrap things up for tonight.
Oh. It really does. But, ooh. Knew it.
So it's a puppet of the monarch? How did it get that? How did it get him?
That is a good question.
Unless it sampled him and then he like escaped at some point previously.
Well, it was very satisfying killing him the first time. So
That's true.
You know, it's just
That's
an
true.
opportunity for another go.
This might mean he's just dead, so that's not terrible.
I mean, he could have had followers before that brought him here to begin with. We don't know. We're gonna find out.
And hey, you know, that's another.
What if he was always this thing?
Us.
What if he was always this thing and we
No.
didn't notice?
Oh no! Oh,
And what if we just killed like the little offshoot of it? And
Yeah,
this is the
exactly.
Original. Oh. You picked a good day to train with us, Vance.
yep.
I hate this guy.
Well, you know, with that, you know, again, I just, in case you weren't here when we first started, Critical Role has put out a Kickstarter for the Critical Role minis. So you can go get your minis for Vox Machina and the Mighty Nine if you like. Also, we won't be here next week, but the following week we should be taking things up and going for a while. Sorry for the breaks. I will be in France playing D&D in a castle, so I don't know how good my internet will be in a castle. So, and I'll probably be busy, maybe, hopefully playing D&D. So I'm excited about that. I want to thank you, ladies, as always, for coming, hanging out, and gaming with me, and thanks everyone for watching. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay
Stay nerdy.